Hours will continue tonight, and there's a risk of hail, sleet and thunder for a time, with lowest temperatures 1 to 3 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball.
In association with Air. Watch every UEFA Champions League and Europa League game on the Air Sport Pack.
This is News Talk.
Hello, good evening. It is Wednesday night off the ball. It's Dave sitting in for Joe, who's probably holed up in a loft somewhere preparing himself for the big gig this weekend. A lot to get through this evening. It's the last Wednesday Night Rugby before the Six Nations gets underway at the weekend. We'll have French legend Philippe alongside an Irish legend in Keith Wood. That's just after 8 o'clock. Chris Waddle will be chatting to Kev to preview the offering at Wembley tonight. It's a big night of Premier League football tonight. Tottenham hosting Manchester United. Stewart Robson will be talking about Arsenal both on and off the field this week. An awful lot to talk about as regards them. And we'll also have Richard Dunne involved in the football show as well. And we'll be talking about Ronda Rousey's proposed switch to WWE. Kevin Kilbane and Richie McCormack are alongside us this evening. Gentlemen, hello.
Hello, David.
How are you, Dave? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're going to be speaking to a Dave with bigger muscles than yourself on tonight's show, by the way.
Dave Meltzer. I haven't seen a picture of him.
He is.
He's a unit, is he?
Built human being.
Is he?
That man.
Is he something for Dave to look to aspire to become?
This is your goal, Dave. This is the next step.
Well, we're talking like a 6 foot plus guy, are we?
Meltzer, no, he's probably slightly taller than you.
Right.
Maybe in
he's
around
a good 5'2" or 3" like Dave. Yeah.
You're not wrong.
But the same cut t-shirts. I mean, that t-shirt's no accident today in front of the cameras, Dave. Let's be honest.
Dave, talk to me about your t-shirts. Sometimes you come in and they are getting tighter and tighter. You know that. The older you get, the tighter they become, and it should be the other way around.
I no longer feel I should be explaining my.
No, it's just it concerns me, Dave.
Choices.
It concerns me. It
concerns you in what way?
Just want clarification on how you're actually choosing your t-shirts in the morning.
I walk into the shop, I find a t-shirt I like, and I buy it just like any other person.
You just buy it without trying it. Or do you have to make sure that it's tight on the bicep?
Are you buying a small or an extra small, Dave?
I buy stuff without trying it on, of course.
What?
Of course you do.
So what percentage of the stuff you buy do you have to send back again?
Nothing, because a good 85% of my stuff.
Because you just couldn't be arsed.
He's got a good eye. He's got a good eye.
Yeah, that's
small or extra small, Dave?
Well, I've never claimed to have a good eye when it comes to fashion, so I need to have a good look at it. So there you go. It's a little bit of an odd segue at the very top of the show.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking Arsenal tonight because Stewart Robson, who is never short of a word or two on Arsenal, he's going to be joining us as part of the football show. It's been an incredible week for Arsenal. Hasn't it? It's just unbelievable.
Honestly, it's you see it with Arsenal, the signings that they've made, there's a little bit of positivity. Kenny Cunningham was on the show last night, and Kenny's saying, look, I think it's a much better, a much brighter Arsenal now when you're losing Alexis Sanchez, who was supposedly a little bit disruptive in the dressing room, and you get McIntyre in, and you get, of course, Aubameyang in. So in fairness, it looks like a good window to them. And then last night comes about, and it's just amazing.
I watched the highlights of the game on my way in today. It was just typical Arsenal. Even in Mesut Ozil, which the big news obviously that he signed a new 3.5 year contract.
I forgot about that, sorry, yeah.
And so he's going to be around, whether he's around for the long term or whether he still leaves in the summer and they command a massive fee from him now that he's put pen to paper in that new deal. You could see the brilliance of Mesut Ozil and the frustration of Mesut Ozil within a 5-minute period. He puts that ball in a sixpence for Nacho Monreal.
Yeah, he's quality.
Unbelievable delivery.
Yeah.
And then a few minutes later loses it in his own half, just throws his arm into the air in frustration when he doesn't hear the whistle from the referee, and suddenly Arsenal are 2-1 down.
Yeah. Well, that's Arsenal in a nutshell.
Just go to pieces.
Ozil in a nutshell, yes, but that's Arsenal, isn't it? And so much, again, positivity. You lose Sanchez, and there's so much, the feeling around that, you're gutted to lose one of your best players, but you get these two lads in, you get Ozil to sign a new deal. There's got to be a great feeling towards the end of the season, because that Ozil deal was probably done and dusted over the last week or so. I would have thought that words got around that dressing room that Ozil is about to sign.
Clearly didn't inspire them last week.
Oh, exactly, that's the thing. It's just crazy. It's crazy stuff.
So that's one of the things that was pointed out today, is that they want to see, what you should be seeing with Mesut Ozil if he's going to complete this contract, which will bring him up to 8 years at Arsenal, is that you'd want to see him in a more, you're kind of thinking, Jesus, but you want to see him in a more leadership capacity or a leader's capacity than he has been, to actually assume some responsibility for that side. But I don't think at any stage in his career, I'm not just counting at Arsenal, counting Real Madrid, and even before that again, has he ever looked that type of player? He's somebody who likes to make that pass, likes to make a nice incision between midfield and defence.
He's a sort of player that can play on the periphery of a game but have a big influence on it, if you know what I mean. He can have key moments in the game. He'd be almost like a highlight player, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily want him in your side to be, doing...
Which is fine in a really big team where there are Galacticos all over the place, which is where he had some of his best games at Real Madrid. I'm sure there are a lot of angry Arsenal fans out there.
Really?
Sometimes we think that the production meetings and Off the Ball, can I lift the editorial curtain here, can get a bit fractious. We're never as annoyed as the dudes at Arsenal TV.
I've had enough of this shit, man. Fucking shit, Robbie. It is absolutely shit. Wenger! F***ing out, man!
It was the lack of effort today, wasn't it? I mean...
Lack of everything! Lack of everything! Lack of everything, Rob! Lack of everything!
We're not good enough, mate. I'm past right. I can't even rant anymore because I'm just... It's the same old shit, mate. I'm sorry.
We can't hold our f***ing lead now, blood. You understand?
You can get all excited and buzzing about Aubameyang and McIntyre and stuff like that, but we still defend like f***ing clowns.
It's just us all over this year. There's no defence, blood.
Buying one player tomorrow, yeah? We need about 8 or f***ing 9, not one.
And it's the same old shit. We could be announcing Aubameyang right now and I couldn't give a f***.
It's passing the ball sideways. Sideways. I'll be a grown man. Tears came in my eye. I swear my mum's life. Tears came in my eyes here. And you know what? I'm not even mad here at the fact that we lost. I'm mad that I didn't put money on Swansea to beat us. I swear to God.
So am I.
Surely that Robbie lad must wake up some mornings and see an Arsenal game is on the calendar and think, oh Christ, no.
Swansea away. That is not the fixture I want today.
Like, by all means, like that. He's ended up on BBC. I remember seeing him in the build-up to the cup final. He's done bits and pieces elsewhere on Sky and all that. And Arsenal Fan TV has got huge hits, and I'm sure he makes a lot of sponsorship. But surely some days he goes, I don't need this in my life. I don't need to stand outside, the Liberty Stadium on a wet Tuesday evening in January talking to troops about how rubbish we are against Swansea.
Can you imagine when Arsenal TV's first started? He's gone looking for people, hasn't he? He's gone looking for these lads. Will you come on the show? No, nah, you're all right, mate. Now they're going looking for Rob. They're trying to find him.
Where's Robbie at?
Yeah.
Where's Robbie? Poor lad.
Would you call them a herd of angry young men? I don't know if that's the colloquial term.
But it's funny one, isn't it? Yeah, it cracks us up when we listen to it and things like that. But you kind of share the frustration because
they're so passionate.
What can we say that's going to change?
Nothing.
In the last 5 years, we're having the same conversations that you and I would have been having when I first met you, Dave. When you were less muscular and we were having those conversations then. We were, though. In fairness, we were. 5 years ago.
The tone of the conversation has not changed.
No.
From discussions around their midfield to their defence to their lack of spending power to the money that Wenger apparently had at his disposal and wasn't willing to spend it.
To the callow nature of the side. That's what grabs me. We talked about the leadership thing with Ozil. We saw it last night with Xhaka with his failure to track back and track his runner, which has been an ongoing situation with him. He cost 35 million. And we're seeing Aubameyang
as a holding midfielder.
And I saw Aubameyang come in today and there's a picture of him beside Wenger, and I can't help but thinking that it's like when you were in school and you had that soft touch of a teacher that you knew that you could get away with, like double science was going to be a walk or English was going to be a walk for 40 minutes,
almost like a substitute teacher.
Exactly, because you thought that this lad can't control the class.
I'd ask, and
you're not going to get homework off him, and I think a lot of Arsenal players may now have that same attitude towards Wenger.
Well, we saw from Xhaka last night, we saw the exact same thing happen at Vicarage Road when they were beaten by Watford for Cleverley's goal. Didn't bother tracking back.
In the clip afterwards, it showed him picking his nose. He was actually picking his nose at the edge of the penalty area. Honest to God, I was like, what is going on here? But the only thing I say, you've paid, what is it for Aubameyang? 60 million?
60 million quid.
Yeah, so you've paid 60 million quid for Aubameyang. How is he going to get him and Lacazette? Lacazette in the sum of 50 million, whatever it would be. He's never played two strikers, or rarely has ever played two strikers. It's always been one off. When he had Bergkamp off, whether that be Anelka or Wright, whoever it would be, Henry, of course. So where is he going to fit them, the two of them, into the side at the moment?
You're figuring the Lacazette could drop deeper and perhaps play on that.
I don't think he's that
three behind and play the right.
That's not.
I
his
really
deal,
don't think. No, it's not. He's a player that plays on the shoulder of defenders.
And Aubameyang is the middleman in a three. And it has been for all of his big days at Dortmund, so he doesn't want to be moving either left or right either. Now they did need another striker, given that Olivier Giroud was heading out the door to Chelsea.
But then all of a sudden, it seems to me in my head, though, David, it puts Lacazette down the pecking order. That's the only way that I could see it working.
Well, maybe it does. Maybe it does exactly that. Text on 53106. You can get us on Twitter at Off the Ball. The thing I always admire about Arsenal Fan TV is how quiet and disciplined the fans stay when they're gathered around troops and his mates. From Sean and Drogheda.
It's a hushed reverence.
Well, they are hanging on every word as well, just as we were during that clip. Look, we'll have plenty more on Arsenal and their travails on the field. Off the field, I think it's been a pretty good week for them, particularly with the Mesut Ozil news. I have my doubts about Aubameyang, which we'll get into later.
Yeah, he's nearly 29.
He's 29. I'm thinking if you're that good, Why has it taken you until the age of 29 to go to leave Dortmund? Why is it to Arsenal and not a Barca or a Real or a Bayern Munich? And the fee is pretty minuscule given some of the numbers that were being touted around Aubameyang 24 months ago.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
He's clearly not. No one has taught him world class.
He's scored goals consistently though, hasn't he? And
his record is phenomenal.
He has. He's got a great record. Can he bring that Bundesliga form to the Premier League? I think he can. I genuinely think he can, and anyone that would have seen him. But maybe temperament-wise has come into it. That's the one thing that's maybe the question mark over him.
He's at the right club then.
Yeah, but it's true. It is. He's almost like he is an Arsenal player. That's the way that you think in your head, don't you? That's what a lot of the Arsenal players are like.
Yeah,
so
well, look, they could win a 4th trophy in 5 seasons if they beat City in the League Cup final. Exactly. They could win the Europa League. That'll be 5 trophies in 6 seasons. Back in Champions League football.
They won't be in the Champions League, Dave.
The Europa League.
Oh yeah, but they won't be they won't be in the Champions League. There.
If they win the Europa League.
Well, if they win it, they will be.
Yeah, but they won't be.
Okay, so they're not going to win the Europa League. I don't think they're getting there in the top 4 anyway. Richie, where are we starting?
We'll start actually with Ulster because their director of rugby, Les Kiss, has left his post with immediate effect. Under his stewardship, Ulster have never made it past the pool stage of the Champions Cup. Defeats to La Rochelle and Wasps this time round put paid to that. They're also in danger of missing the semi-finals of the Pro 14 this season. Kiss was appointed director of rugby in 2014, June of that year, after working as a defence coach with Ireland. He was part of Declan Kidney's successful side with Ireland there as well. Head coach John O'Gibbs will assume responsibility for all coaching matters at Ulster, with a review to be conducted to see if further coaching experience is required to add to the likes of Dwayne Peel going forward.
It's a huge deal. I can't recall the last time a provincial head coach was sacked mid-season. I think Ella left Leinster pretty early in a campaign. Matt O'Connor left with a handful of games, maybe less than 5 in his second season, before Leo Cullen took over at the time as the interim coach, and then obviously became permanent head coach afterwards. But to sack your coach midway through the season, that's a big, huge call from Ulster Rugby and from David Nucifora and the RFU, all to the backdrop of what's happening in the Belfast Crown Court as well.
Yeah, and we will advise listeners that some may find the following details upsetting, so a health warning on the following of this one. It is an update on what's been going on in the courts, as you say. Belfast Crown Court today heard a woman's claim she pleaded with Paddy Jackson just before his Ireland and Ulster Rugby teammate Stewart Olding raped her. Both players are accused of raping her at a party at Jackson's South Belfast home in the early hours of June 28th, 2016. The woman claims Jackson raped her at that party back at his house in the early hours of that date. She claims it happened shortly after she firmly told him she didn't want to go any further after some consensual kissing, which had also taken place in his room. At some point she said she remembered the door opening and Stewart Olding walking in. She said her heart just sank and she knew what was going to happen next. She said she looked straight into Jackson's eyes and said, "Please, not him as well." She said Olding then got onto the bed and forced her to give him oral sex. She claims Jackson also sexually assaulted her. Blaine McElroy from Royal Lodge Road in Belfast is accused of exposing himself to her, while Rory Harrison from Mance Road in Belfast is accused of perverting the course of justice and withholding information. All 4 deny charges, and the case will continue tomorrow. Now, Seamus Coleman will make his return for Everton tonight following 10 months out with a double leg break. Everton at home to Leicester. Everton line up with Jordan Pickford in goal, Seamus Coleman at right back, Phil Jagielka and Michael Keane at the heart of their defence, with Cuca Martina at left full. In midfield sit Tom Davies and Idrissa Gueye. In front of them, Theo Walcott, Wayne Rooney and Gylfi Sigurdsson, with Umar Niasse leading their line. For Leicester, Kasper Schmeichel starts in goal. They've got a back 4 of Jordan Amartey, Alexander Dragovic, Harry Maguire and Ben Chilwell. Across the midfield, it's Mark Albrighton, Wilfred Ndidi, Matty James and Demarai Gray, with Shinji Okazaki in behind Jamie Vardy. No Riyad Mahrez in that lineup, you will note. More of which anon. Elsewhere this evening, leaders Manchester City are at home to West Brom, and there's a debut for their new signing, Aymeric Laporte. He is at the centre of City's defence tonight, thrown straight in following a £60+ million move from Athletic Bilbao. Ederson starts in goal for them. It's a back 4 of Kyle Walker, the aforementioned Laporte, Nicolas Otamendi and Alexander Zinchenko. Fernandinho and David Silva are in midfield, along with Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling and Bernardo Silva in behind Sergio Aguero. For West Brom, James McLean starts, while new signing Daniel Sturridge is on the bench. That kicks off at 8, as does the meeting of Tottenham and Manchester United at Wembley. The teams are in for this one as well. Hugo Lloris starts in goal for Spurs. They've then got a back 4 of Kieran Trippier, Davinson Sanchez, Jan Vertonghen and Ben Davies. Eric Dyer and Moussa Dembele anchor the midfield, with Christian Eriksen, Dele Alli and Heung-min Son in behind Harry Kane. Kilbane. For United, David De Gea starts in goal. Then they've got Antonio Valencia captaining the side from right back, with Chris Smalling and Phil Jones in the centre of their defence and Ashley Young on the left. Nemanja Matic and Paul Pogba are in midfield. Alexis Sanchez starts on the right of a trio in behind Romelu Lukaku that also includes Jesse Lingard and Anthony Martial. Third place Chelsea, they have a 7:45 start at home to Bournemouth tonight. There are 3 other games as well, with Southampton playing host to fellow strugglers Brighton. Shane Long starts for Southampton. Their new signing Guido Carrillo is only on the bench. Paul Lambert Stoke, they take on Watford, and Burnley travel to Newcastle. Kevin Long and Jeff Hendrick both start for Burnley. Their new signing Aaron Lennon is on the bench.
Yeah, we'll get into the Tottenham-Manchester United game in about 10 minutes time. Kev's going to be chatting to Chris Waddle.
Elsewhere, it has been striker merry-go-round on transfer deadline day. It began, as we mentioned, with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang completing his move from Borussia Dortmund to Arsenal for a club record fee, for Arsenal that is, of £60 million. With the move being in the offing for so long, the Gabon striker is delighted to finally get it done.
Yeah, finally, I'm really happy to be here, and of course I can join Mickey in this team, so I'm really happy to be here in this great team.
That Aubameyang move set off a chain of events that saw Olivier Giroud complete his £18 million move from Arsenal to Chelsea. The France striker has signed an 18-month contract at Stamford Bridge with the option of another. He's been speaking to Chelsea TV about what convinced him to move across London.
Basically, for me, the most important thing has been talking with the coach, Antonio Conte. I really feel like that he really want me. He really want me to work with me, and obviously Chelsea is a massive club, so it was a great opportunity for me to start a new adventure with Chelsea, yeah? And I'm very proud to sign here.
Giroud's arrival.
Sorry, Richie. I think it's a brilliant move for Chelsea.
For Giroud,
if you think of where the links to the big man up front started, we had heard about Andy Carroll, we had heard about Peter Crouch at one stage, Ashley Barnes. Of all the guys, if he had been touted as one of the possible arrivals at the very beginning of it, he would have been head and shoulders above any of them.
Yeah, Dzeko, I suppose. I think Dzeko was the one that was seriously touted, and I think I probably would have took Dzeko over those other 3. But I think it's a good move, given his record is still very, very good. He's when he is coming off the bench, he's having an impact on games. You would imagine predominantly he'll be that impact striker. But
we've seen the injury profile of Alvaro Morata. There's a good chance he'll start games.
Yeah, I mean, well, clearly he doesn't fancy Batshuayi. Clearly, and even him when he's been scoring goals, he's looked sharp. He's not the link-up man. Pat Nevin spoke about this. He said he put crosses in. It's not necessarily Chelsea style. He will be on the end of them. But Giroud, I always like him as a link-up man. I think he'd be very good. You can play Hazard off him. I think Hazard will be able to maybe get himself as a number 10 now and be able to have an influence more over that Chelsea side. So yeah, I think it is a good move for them. Yeah, I do.
His goal record in the Premier League in terms of the games that he started is incredible. Like, he played 180 Premier League games and scored 73 goals.
Yeah.
But how many of those were off the bench?
Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant sign, and only 31, still 2 or 3 really good years left in him.
As you mentioned, Giroud's arrival has seen Michy Batshuayi move to Borussia Dortmund. That is on loan until the end of this season. Aubameyang won't be the highest paid player at Arsenal. That honour instead will go to Mesut Ozil. The German playmaker has signed a new 3.5-year deal at the club, which will see him pocket £350,000 a week before tax until 2021. Ozil's deal was set to expire this summer. Manchester City have ended their pursuit of Riyad Mahrez. The Premier League leaders were not prepared to meet Leicester's valuation for the Algerian playmaker. Mahrez had placed a transfer request in at Leicester. He's not included, as I mentioned, in their squad tonight for their trip to Everton. It was touted that Leicester wanted a package that would have totalled £95 million to let Mahrez move to Manchester City. Now, that would have included a player moving the opposite direction as well, but still a bit too rich for Manchester City's tastes.
If you're in that Leicester City dressing room when they meet up for training tomorrow, whenever the next training session is, Kev, are you... is there a frosty reception for Riyad Mahrez, or does every professional just understand that's how the game works?
Yeah, I understand how it works, but the one thing I would be critical of him if he came back and he didn't necessarily be showing that desire in training, first of all, because you'll see it straight away.
The desire that he showed in the build-up to the January window.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? That is the one thing. I think Kenny Cunningham spoke about it last night as well, where, yes, I think he's a quality footballer, but we have questioned his desire in the past, and if he were to go back into that dressing room now, and he does, walking into the dressing room wouldn't be an issue. So, I mean, that's genuine. That would not be the issue. But if he wasn't putting it in when you're playing in the drills that you were doing on the training ground, if you've seen him slacking off and then taking that into games when you're actually needing to get a result at a weekend and he's not actually putting it in, then that is where you'll be critical of him. So we've got to maybe give him the benefit of the doubt at the moment. Let's see how he goes in the games in the coming weeks, because his form has been sensational in the last month or two, hasn't it? It's been incredible.
That's 4 windows that have come and gone, opened and shut since they won the Premier League title. Are you surprised he's still there?
I am surprised, yeah. Given the fact, this must be his second transfer request now. Given the fact is that he flew back from
third,
he flew back from Algeria. I don't think he put a transfer request in before the last one, but he certainly flew back from Algeria when he was away in international duty, desperate to get away. He's said his form's got better and better steadily across the course this season, and he is almost now back to the form that he was showing a couple of seasons ago when Leicester won the league. But he needs now, I think, just to be consistent to the end of the season, that almost he's playing himself into the clubs or the suitors that would be wanting him in the mind before the window opened, because I think every move that was going to come about for Mahrez, they've come about too late, and he wasn't able to get away off the back of it. So he needs now, I feel as though, to have a concerted spell to the end of the season, get his head down, work hard, certainly ahead of the World Cup as well for himself. If he can have a good spell now to the end of the season, then you think as though the next summer window he could move,
Plenty more lads on the move today, Rich?
Yeah, Lucas Moura has actually completed his move from Paris Saint-Germain to Tottenham. £25 million is how much the Brazilian midfielder has cost. Everton are close to signing Manchester City defender Eliakim Mangala on loan until the end of this season. The Goodison side have offloaded today Sandro Ramirez to Sevilla on loan. Swansea hoping to get a couple of deals done tonight. They're close to re-signing Andre Ayew from West Ham for £20 million. He will link up, of course, with his brother Jordan there, while Andy King is set to arrive on loan from Leicester, absent this evening from their squad. Another player leaving Leicester on loan is Islam Slimani. He's on the verge of a temporary move to Newcastle. Slimani's arrival at St James's Park has seen Alexander Mitrovic head out the door. He was supposed to be heading to his former club Anderlecht. Hearing in the past few moments, without wanting to go all Jim White on you, that move has broken down to Anderlecht, but he is expected to still leave for another club on loan, is the Serbian striker. Watford, they have signed midfielder Didier Ndong from Sunderland on loan until the end of the season. They have the option to turn that move into a permanent one in the summer. Reece Oxford has returned on loan to Borussia Mönchengladbach for the rest of the season. He was at the Bundesliga side for the first half of this campaign, but was recalled earlier this month, while Bournemouth striker Lewis Graben has joined Aston Villa on loan until the end of this term. Republic of Ireland women's head coach Colin Bell has agreed a contract extension. He will remain in charge of the team until the end of the 2021 European Championship campaign. While there's a first cap for winger Megan Williams in the Ireland women's side for their first Six Nations game against France this coming Saturday. With the options scarce at half, Niamh Briggs returns, but she's been handed the number 10 jersey. Connacht's Laura Feely should make her debut off the bench, and Ireland face the French in Toulouse on Saturday evening under new head coach Adam Griggs, and he's been outlining how Ireland will move on from a disappointing World Cup campaign.
Obviously I was on the outside looking in, so the only thing I've approached is, I coach a little bit different to say what the past management were. Like everyone in rugby, we all have our own style and our own way of doing things, so that's really all I focused on. Is I feel there's a game plan and that suits our players the best, and that's what we're going to pursue. So it wasn't so much about rectifying what happened, because as I say, it's a fresh start. So I've come in with my ideas. I think the players are adapting to it quite well, and they're being challenged in different ways, which is always good.
Plenty of your tweets come in. Add off the ball on your text for 30 sound of 53106. Peter Walsh on Twitter. Bit of sympathy for the Arsenal fans here. I was at Man City Arsenal in November 08. City won 3-0. Arsenal fans sang the whole match and stayed till the end. Really feel for them at the minute. So he's going back to an anecdote that's 10 years old. They obviously made a lasting impression on him at that game at the Etihad Stadium. Kevs, your trip to Clonus has been fondly remembered. Peter and Ackle, were you talking to him up in Clonus in St. Terence Park?
Good few, yeah.
Were you on the hill at the weekend, or were you in the main stand?
As well, yeah. It was in the main stand. I was opposite.
Just full of Mayo fans.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, great turnout. It was a lot, wasn't there? Yeah.
I knew well how strongly supported the Mayo team are. And you are very justifiably argued they are the best fans in the country, but the sheer number of them that were in Clonus on Sunday took my breath away. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
the first real game since the All-Ireland final, incredible. But Peter says, hope you enjoyed your trip to Clonus. I would like to thank him for stopping and taking the time to have a picture taken with his nephew. Was that your first Clonus trip?
I've been to Clones before. First time in to see
The
again.
ground.
Yeah, first time.
You need to go there on Ulster final day. So.
Yeah, I've been told that. Yeah, I've been told that by one or two.
It's a very special place. It's
Yeah.
the Thurles of Gaelic games.
Yeah,
that's how I always say.
Gaelic football.
Gaelic football. Indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thurles is still Thurles of Gaelic
It
games.
is the Thurles of Gaelic football. Sun always shines on Ulster final day. Always, no matter what teams are involved. Fergan Dublin says, lads, with mid-season transfers, games postponed, etc., has a player ever played more than 38 games in a season? That is a very interesting question.
It's a good question. Richie's a man for a stat. Richie would probably be able to find that out.
So, for example,
in a league season, yeah.
Yeah, so you leave a week into the season after the first round of games. The club that you've moved to couldn't fulfil their opening fixture because of floodlight failure.
Yeah.
So they still have 39 games ahead of them.
It's probably been done. It's a great one.
39.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Logistically, it's definitely possible. Has it ever happened? 53106. Get us on Twitter at Off the Ball. If you know of a player that's played more than 38 games, that is a brilliant question for it.
There are 9 new caps in the Ireland under-20 team for their Six Nations opener against France on Friday. Leinster at half Harry Byrne and Munster wing James McCarthy among those who will be making their debuts in Bordeaux. Tommy O'Brien will captain the side from the centre, while scrum half Johnny Stewart, who made his first start for Ulster against Leinster at the RDS this month, will earn his 11th cap at under-20 level. Back to senior level, of course, the Ireland team being named tomorrow, but Stuart Hogg is back in the Scotland team for their Six Nations opener against Wales in Cardiff on Saturday. The fullback was a late withdrawal from November's win over Australia and returns as one of 6 changes to their side. Hogg is also one of 9 Glasgow players in the starting 15. A blow for Cork's footballers with the news that Sean Powter could miss the rest of their Division 2 football campaign. The centre forward has damaged his hamstring. He limped out of Saturday's defeat to Tipperary. Next up for the Rebels is a meeting with Down in Newry. While Sigerson Cup holders St Mary's were beaten at the first round stage this afternoon, they could only muster 1-2 in the second half as they were beaten 17 points to 1-9 by UUJ at St Paul's. Next up for UUJ is a quarter-final with UL, while Mayo forward Conor Loftus found the net as DIT beat IT Carlow 111 to 8 points. They set up a quarter-final meeting with IT Tralee this evening, and this has been moved to Darver. Dundalk are facing DCU, Dundalk IT that is, with the winners to progress to a meeting with last year's beaten finalists UCD. And finally, so-called grid girls will no longer be part of the Formula 1 season. F1 organisers say they are at odds with modern day societal norms. The move comes barely a week after the PDC announced that they wouldn't be using models to walk players to the stage at their darts events anymore.
Are there any more still to follow? Do they still use ring
girls
in the boxing ring?
Are we seeing that could be a thing of the past as well?
What about the UFC? Is it a thing in MMA as well?
In MMA I think it is as well, yeah. But I think the boxing ring girls thing depends on the promoter. They might necessarily have. It's not like a given that they'll be there. Sometimes you'll see them, sometimes you won't.
Yeah.
But I think it's something we can all move on from and without much pain, to be quite honest.
Keep your texts coming in, keep your tweets coming in. There's a text on Ronda Rousey. We're going to be talking about Ronda Rousey just after 7:30, JP, or before 8 o'clock anyway, because she's obviously made the move to WWE. And Brian in Kildare says the Ronda Rousey deal is huge. She's a huge wrestling fan and she's likely going to main event WrestleMania, more than likely hidden in a tag team match because she's pretty green. It's a pity because the wrestling nerd in me was hoping AJ versus Nakamura would close the show. The only words I understood in that sentence were Ronda Rousey.
I'm 100% with that texture, by the way. AJ Nakamura is going to be a far better match than anything that will go down that will involve Ronda Rousey. But, you know, that's another story for another day.
Brilliant stuff, Richie. Thanks a million. Chance for you to get involved in our comp this evening. Off the Ball, and the Aviva Fan Studio is back for this year's Six Nations. We're on the road this weekend and we want you to join us. We're off to Galway, where we'll be joined by Ireland legends Tommy Bowe, Jenny Murphy and John Muldoon to watch the opening game of the Six Nations, France against Ireland. Get the pre-match, half-time and full-time thoughts of our 3 legends live at the G Hotel, and we're also throwing in an overnight stay to get your name into the hat. Just tell us what, JP. What county is John Muldoon from? There was just a blank there. What county is John Muldoon from? Pretty easy. Text your name and answer to 53106 and we'll announce the winner tomorrow night. It's all with thanks to Aviva Home Insurance. Don't forget to tune into Off the Ball social channels on Saturday to check out the Aviva Fan Studio on the road. Chris Waddle is up next.
Off the Ball on News Talk,
in association with the Air Sport app, allowing you to cast your favourite sporting action from your tablet or mobile phone straight to your TV.
Lunchtime Live.
Robert says, should people who get caught defrauding social welfare be banned from claiming social welfare for a period of time, up to 5 years?
No, social welfare has to be a right. We either have a solidarity contract with each other or we don't, right? And actually we do. So that's what the department is there for. We're there to help people when they need that help periodically during their life. You want to take the mick and defraud us, we'll cut the hands off you. And there isn't a week gone by that I haven't seen a story in the papers over the last number of months where somebody has been charged, somebody's going to jail, and that's proper order.
Lunchtime Live with Ciara Kelly. Back tomorrow at midday on News Talk.
If you're looking for a van that delivers on quality at a price that's right for you, it's got to be an LDV. For comfort, safety, efficiency and all-round delivery, it can only be an LDV. For a van that always goes the extra mile for your business, it has to be the award-winning LDV. With 5 years warranty and 5 years roadside assist, check out the extensive 181 range now and future-proof your drive. Find your nearest dealer at ldv.ie. LDV, part of the Harris Group.
News Talk's Happily Hired, brought to you by Jobbio.
Jobbio is the place where millions of talented people find their dream job. MD7 are looking for a lease consultant to join their rapidly expanding workforce. Fitzer's Catering need a staffing coordinator to work on their HR team. And finally, Food Cloud need an experienced communications manager. The company has a vision